We're starting off talking about Saturday Night Takeaway. Obviously, you now know it won't be shown this weekend because Ant has gone into rehab following his arrest after a suspected drink-drive crash, which happened at the weekend. And Nadia, you were talking about a rehab because obviously you've had experience with this in your family with Mark, which you both of you talk very openly about. And it's not uncommon, is it, for someone to go back when they think they're okay, and sometimes they have to go back for another
well, Mark was there 15 years ago, and there were various famous people in there at the same time, and they had been in a couple of times. You know what he said? He said, actually, I think it's harder for people when they're famous. He said, because there's so much shame and guilt when you go into rehab, and you're so embarrassed, and all about getting clean is about saying all those things that you've done and not being in denial. And he said, and that's hard when people aren't looking at you and knowing you're off the telly. He thinks that today will be an extraordinarily difficult day for Ant. He said in his experience, he would go straight back into the programme. He'll be in with a group. The group will be challenging what he's done. I mean, Mark, Mark sent me a text because I asked him earlier if he wouldn't mind me talking about this, because 15 years ago, Mark was done for drunk driving on the motorway. And he said that it was an absolute... He said, it is a gift if you can let being caught be the defining moment of your addiction. And as long as you've hurt no one, public shaming by press, I had the shame of my nan, you have no choice but to embrace it, get real and get honest. If you don't, it will happen again in a different way. It was the defining tipping point in the start of my recovery. I knew I had a problem at that point, and that point alone. So he said, this could be, in the end, a very important thing for Ant.
I mean...
And can I just say, Mark's been 15 years sober, and I couldn't be more proud of him one day at a time.
Well, And the thing is, you know...